Oh, yes, you guys, the top 10 is back this weekend. And what a weekend for it to be back. Multiple goals, strong performances from many of our players at good levels. A very, very encouraging weekend for the season to come. Yes, so the top 10 will be here on the second channel, 11 Yanks Soccer, guys, until until whenever I get the other YouTube channel back. So how are you guys doing? Thanks for hanging. Thanks for chilling. It's good to see you all. Obviously, we have camp starting next week, South Korea on Saturday, and then Japan the following Tuesday. So plenty to work on between now and then, and plenty to see, hopefully, from some of our stronger guys who are in camp. How are you guys doing? What's been up with you? Let me know in the comments. Hit the like button if you haven't done that already, guys. We want to try to get these watch hours up as much as we possibly can between now and, between now and camp. And hopefully try to get as many people to subscribe to this channel while we wait for Google and the YouTube overlords to get their asses back in line and give me my old channel back. What's been going on with y'all? Tell me in the chat, what was your favorite goal of the weekend that USMNT players scored? And then tell me, what was your favorite goal of the weekend that maybe wasn't scored by a USA player? Maybe you're a fan of a particular club and you saw a great, great goal. So let me know in the comments what you guys been up to. 0 comments so far. This is unusual. But, welcome. If you're new, welcome. Welcome back to the top 10. It's a fun time. It's a great time, actually. We are going to go ahead and get started here with the top 10 while you guys get those comments in. Make sure you hit the like button. I want to shout out Ian James of Sporting Kansas City, a young 17-year-old center back who's played roughly 221 minutes in MLS this season. He's sort of alternated between, MLS Next Pro and the first team. And from what I've seen of this kid, I think he's got a very, very high ceiling as a center back. Not only because he's a good defender, is very athletic as well, but he's also very, very good on the ball. And considering he's getting professional minutes for a center back at age 17, that's extremely impressive. Extremely impressive. I don't know if any of you guys are KC fans here, but if you are, definitely somebody you want to check out. Absolutely someone that you want to check out. He is in the under 17 friendlies roster, will probably be at the under 17 World Cup because KC ain't making the playoffs. So hopefully he gets released. That under 17 World Cup roster, if they get everybody released, is going to be very, very, very exciting. You've got obviously guys like Kevin Sullivan and Mathis Albert, who are going to be very interesting to watch. You've got Julian Hall, who's got pro minutes for the Red Bull, even has a couple of goals, including against Club America in the League's Cup. You've got a guy like Ian James, who I think is very, very good player. Definitely one for the future to watch. I expect him to be probably a starter in KC next season because I think he's progressing that much. But against the Colorado Rapids, he did start. Played only 61 minutes. They pulled him off, but still had a 91% passing accuracy, 1 pass into the final third, 3 out of 5 accurate long balls, 1 clearance off the line, 2 out of 4 ground duels won, and 2 out of 2 aerial duels won. Now, those stats might not seem like exemplary stats, but when you weigh it against the fact that this is a 17-year-old playing at center back at the professional level, it's very encouraging. It's encouraging young center backs in the league, hopefully, that MLS is maybe starting to develop that can do something, that maybe could become somebody someday. So here's hoping. We don't know if he will become anything, but one can dream and one can hope, right? Someone to keep an eye on, and definitely looking forward to seeing him at the Under 17 World Cup. Aidan Morris, who was excluded from the national team camp in favor of Sean Zawadzki and Sebastian Berhalter, guys. Did really well for Middlesbrough against Sheffield United on the weekend. Played 90 minutes, created 2 chances, 3 out of 4 successful dribbles, 2 out of 4 accurate long balls, 8 out of 12 ground duels won. That's a massive amount. And also managed to draw 3 fouls. I promise you, if Aidan Morris was doing these sorts of things in MLS, he would be called up without question. But because he plays in the championship, which is still a better league, than MLS, and I will die on that hill. He does not get the love that he deserves. That is my honest to God opinion. If he was playing for the Columbus Crew, he would 100% be in this roster. And remember, he was often called up when he was playing for the Columbus Crew. But now that he's in Europe, sorry, no room for you there, Aidan. But he continues. Actually, I think he was man of the match last week too for Middlesbrough. He's been really, really good in the sort of minimal time that he's gotten. But it's exciting to see. It's exciting to see. Let's hope this form continues, and let's hope that eventually Pochettino calls him back. Maybe in October. Problem is, Johnny will likely look. Johnny and Adams are our 2-6s, right? And everybody else should be fighting for third. And frankly, the two candidates fighting for the third 6 should be Tanner Tessman, who also had a good game today, and Aidan Morris. People like Sean Zawatsky should be nowhere near contention. But we're not going to get onto that train. Haji Wright, oh, not another one. Yet another player snubbed by Pochettino in this camp. He got 2 goals this week. On the weekend, he got a goal against Oxford United, and midweek scored a penalty for them as well, for Coventry City. Did miss one big chance, 1 out of 3 ground duels won, 2 out of 6 aerial duels won. But what I liked about this goal, and by the way, Coventry aren't playing him as a winger this season, although he was a winger for them last season. This season, they're kind of playing him as a 9. And he's delivering. He's already got, I think, 5 goals so far in 5 games for them. So that's exciting. The goal was not an easy goal by any means. He received it in the box with his back to goal, was able to turn, and despite being surrounded by 4 defenders, he still managed to hit it with his left foot. For me, it was maybe a tad too close to the keeper because the keeper did get a palm to it. And I do wonder if maybe some of this was keeper error. But still, that's a tight angle and surrounded by defenders. It's still a good goal overall, even if I think maybe the keeper could have done better on this one. But it's, look, all Haji Wright can do is keep trying, keep scoring, keep doing what he does in the championship, and hope that Poch will give him another chance. What's crazy is Brian White was called up to this camp over him. Brian White, you guys. The only reason Brian White is not there is because he's injured. But he was going to be there over Haji Wright. Meanwhile, Haji Wright and Josh Sargent are basically going to be in competition for the rest of the season to see who's going to be the top scorer in the championship. That's basically what this is going to look like if they both continue this form. So 2 Americans fighting it out to be the top scorer in the best second division in the world. Not a bad place for us to be in as a country. James Sands. Actually, speaking of backup 6s, James Sands is another one that maybe is in the mix together with Aidan Morris and Tanner Tessman. He did not play against Hull City, unfortunately. That is a typo, a classic Pete typo. He played against I don't remember who it was. I think it was Hamburg. I think it was Hamburg because it was the Hamburg derby. I could be wrong about that, though. Somebody can fact check me. 79% passing accuracy, 3 passes into the final third, 5 out of 6 tackles won, 8 out of 14 ground duels won, 0 out of 1 aerial duels won, and 2 fouls drawn. I don't know what's happening, why there's no comments popping up in the stream. Usually there's always comments in the stream. I wonder if there's a setting or something that doesn't allow comments, because that would be super weird. Usually they allow comments, so I don't know what's happening here. I don't see any comments, which is a tad bit weird for sure. I don't know. Do you guys see the comments, and am I just not seeing them? Is that what's happening right now? Because you guys let me know if I somehow am missing the comments or I'm not able to see them for one reason or another. But I guess you wouldn't be able to do it because if you put it in the comments, I'm not able to see any comments, which is weird. Super weird. Wonder if there's a quick way to fix this before we continue. It says chat is disabled for this live stream. I'm not sure why. How do you enable chat? That's very strange. Let me go take a quick look over at the channel and see if I can manage this live, if I can enable the chat here. Chat is disabled. That's very strange. Customization, close. Live chat. says live chat is disabled for this video. Learn more. You may have turned off live chat on some content. YouTube may have turned off live chat on some content for safety reasons, like to protect minors. Weird. Or it's set as made for kids. It's definitely not set as made for kids. Let me double check this. Oh, I accidentally put yes, it's made for kids. All right, I saved that now. Hopefully the chat will now come through. Try putting comments in the chat and let's see if they come through, guys. Because I accidentally had yes. You know, when you set it up, it's like, is it made for kids? And if you say yes, then sometimes they'll disable live comments so kids don't see the wrong things. But you guys let me know. Try putting something in the chat and we'll see if it pops up. There we go. There we go. All right. Finally. Okay, that had me a little bit worried. Yes, chat is finally on. All right, that was my bad. I accidentally enabled it for kids. It is not for kids, although kids are welcome to be here, especially older kids, like 14 to 17 type kids. So James Sands of St. Pauli did not play against Hull. He played against James Long says, kids suck. Yay, live chat now works, but your comment section is not. Well, the comment section won't be available until after the stream is over, guys. Winelkai Gonzalez, long time no see. Yes, it works now. All right. So he played 90 minutes, 79% passing accuracy, 3 passes into the final third, 5 out of 6 tackles won, 8 out of 14 ground duels won, 0 out of 1 aerial duels won, and 2 fouls drawn. So Julian Vivas says, I can't send super chats. Unfortunately, guys, super chats are only available when you are monetized. And this channel is so new that it's not monetized. We have to get 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subs. So we're already at over 2,000 subscribers. So that's not an issue. It's getting the 4,000 watch hours. This could be the one that puts us over the top because we have 3,200 watch hours right now. I only need 800 more. So if you guys stay the entire stream, and again, as a favor to me, would you please watch this again later at some point? Even if you put your phone down, turn the volume off or put it on mute or put it on your laptop, stick the headphones in so you don't have to hear my voice, ramble a second time. Just to kind of help the channel get those watch hours before we get into camp. And then you can send as many super chats as you want to your heart's content. No, I'm not going to start over, Eli, because the stream was still available. So I'm not going to start the stream all over again. But look, James Sands doing well in the Bundesliga. He doesn't get a look, right, from Podge. And look, I'm not a big James Sands stan here, okay? I'm not saying he's an amazing player. But if you're starting and doing well in a top 5 league in the world, you should be in consideration for the national team. Certainly over a Sean Zawadzki, right? And James Sands is there with Tanner Tessman and Aidan Morris. Should be to be the number 3-6 after both Johnny and Adams. So, all right, moving forward from Mr. Sands, Malik Tillman. Did we know if it was going to work at Bayer Leverkusen? We did not. Do we still know if it's going to work? No, we still don't. But a goal in his debut is a great way to start. Played 61 minutes for Leverkusen against Werder Bremen. 1 goal, 1 out of 2 successful dribbles, 2 tackles won, 2 out of 2 tackles won, something out of 6 ground duels won. I think it was 4 out of 6 ground duels won, and 1 foul drawn. So only played 61 minutes, but as debuts go, certainly a debut which was, above the level that he was playing at before with PSV Eindhoven. I'd say not so bad. Yes, there are rumors about Ten Hag possibly getting fired 2 days in, and that would be 2 games in, and that would be absolutely insane to me to fire a coach that quick. Coaches need time to work. Say what you want about Ten Hag. He may or may not be the right coach for Leverkusen in the long run. But reality is 2 games is nowhere near enough, especially because they lost so many players, not the least of whom was Florian Wirtz. Maybe the best 10 in the world right now. Give the guy at least a few months with this team to see what they look like. The overreactions are becoming a little over the top. But that aside, Malik Tillman's was a nice goal. It was a cross in. It fell to him. He chested it down, and with his left foot, volleyed it into the far post. It just kissed the edge of the post and into the back of the net for Malik Tillman to get his first Bundesliga goal for Bayer Leverkusen. So well done to him. Christopher Richards, the man, the myth, the legend, the center back that we all love, the guy who should be and hopefully will be starting for us in the World Cup, had another good game for Crystal Palace today. Versus Aston Villa, Palace ended up winning this game 3-0. He played all 90 minutes, got the clean sheet, had 3 passes into the final third, 3 out of 4 tackles won, 8 clearances, 1 block, 7 headed clearances, 4 out of 5 ground duels won, and 2 out of 2 aerial duels won. Now, guys, the Prem is the toughest league in the world to play in for lots of reasons, not just the quality, the intensity, the speed of play. It's a very, very punishing league. And so for any of our guys, whether that's A-Rob or Tyler Adams or Chris Richards, to be performing well in the Premier League is always very, very encouraging. But who knows? Poch might try to tell us, for me, MLS is more competitive than the Premier League. And that would be an interesting thing. But Chris Richards did well yet again. And this kind of consistency over the course of the season, as well as being consistent for the national team, should assuage at least some of our defensive fears going into the World Cup next year, because defense is a big part of what we should be as a fan base worried about. We still don't have a reliable partner for Chris Richards. So at least if we have Chris Richards playing well, that's encouraging and good to see. We need Noah Kai Banks to get some minutes, maybe Mark McKenzie. Tim Ream, I have real concerns about, especially a year from now as we go into the World Cup. I just don't know that he's going to be able to play at that level, especially considering the level he's playing at right now. YouTube user says, ready to see Reyna start to get minutes again. Yeah, you and me both. We are all very, very hopeful for that. That Gio Reyna can finally get some, get a career going. He wasn't on the bench for Gladbach this week because he didn't really have much of a good preseason with Dortmund and didn't play any minutes, and so his fitness is not there yet. So they're taking a couple weeks to, build up his fitness, and hopefully, look, Stoger did not play well today. They ended up drawing that game 0-0. So, there is opportunity for Gio Reyna if he wants to take it. The question is, will he take it? And that's kind of up to him. Joshua Sargent, speaking of, for Norwich City, got a brace against Blackburn Rovers. Played 90 minutes, 2 goals. One of them was a penalty, but he did also win that penalty himself. Did also miss 2 big chances. 3 out of 8 ground duels won, 1 out of 3 aerial duels won, and 2 fouls drawn. So Josh Sargent is now on 6 goals in 5 games to start the season. And like I said, it looks like it's going to be him and Haji Wright competing for Golden Boot in the best second division in the world. These were the 2 goals from Josh Sargent. And by the way, guys, all of these will be available as well on Patreon. All of these goals will be available on Patreon with my commentary. So if you do want to support the channel, it's a great way to go check that out. $3 a month. Link is in the description below if you want to check that out. And thank you for everybody who does support the channel every month. Your help is more than appreciated. This was a beautiful goal. Again, this is just the finish that I tried to sketch out here. But he took this ball down and dribbled right at the defenders. They kept backing off him and backing off him. And just as they start to close him down on the edge of the box, that's when he gets a really nice banger of a goal. So well done to Sargent. And he follows it up with a nice penalty too. Faked the goalkeeper and put it in the corner of the net. Now, Sargent, the question with him always is the national team. He might get some minutes against Korea and or Japan. We'll see how he does. Obviously, we want him to do well. We need him to deliver. Balogun is there too. He may start. Balogun also scored today. Yes, Sargent did also draw the penalty, Joe Rogers. Look, I think that Josh Sargent is still our number 3, possibly fighting Haji Wright for the number 3, right? So those are 2 guys fighting for number 3. Pepe and Balogun are 1 and 2, in my opinion, right now. Hopefully, Pepe can find his form again after he's coming back from injury. He played the second half against Telstar yesterday, did not score. I didn't see the game, so I don't really know how well he played. But it's good to see Josh Sargent doing so well at the level he is at. Tyler Adams for Bournemouth had a very, very good game as they beat Tottenham 1-0. He played 90 minutes, had 2 out of 2 tackles won, 1 out of 1 successful dribbles, 1 clearance, 2 interceptions, 7 recoveries, 4 out of 7 ground duels won, 1 out of 2 aerial duels won, and 1 foul drawn. Adams doing his Bulldog Adams thing in midfield as always. Never going to be an exquisite passer of the ball, but as a defensive midfielder, as a 6, he does a job. And doing so in, like I said earlier, one of the most punishing leagues in the world, and that's always good to see. Folarin Balogun is back. He was back last week. He wasn't going to be in the national team because we wanted to call up Brian White instead. Now, originally we thought, oh, it was just because of injuries, which is why he was excluded. But then if it was because he was coming back from his injury and they didn't want to risk him, why would they call him up as soon as Brian White got injured? That might be the most troubling thing about Balogun's call-up, is that if you're not going to call him up because of injury reasons, then don't call him up. Don't change your mind after Brian White gets injured. But it made me think maybe he wasn't going to call Balogun up and he was just going to call up Brian White, who he had all. And by the way, the whole we need to see players thing. He had Brian White in January camp. He had Brian White in March camp. He had Brian White all summer. What more do you need to see from Brian White? Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But back to Balogun versus Strasbourg. Started, scored a really nice goal. 1 chance created, 1 out of 2 successful dribbles, 3 out of 6 ground duels won, 2 out of 2 aerial duels won, and 1 foul drawn. This was, again, the ending of the goal, but it was a nice little chip over the keeper. He actually started this himself. Ball came to him. He quickly touched it to Minamino and then made the run in behind. Minamino touched it back to him, and he didn't beat the defender on the dribble, but he kept pace with him. And from a difficult angle, it was a very, very exquisite chip into the net. So well done to Folarin Balogun. Christian Pulisic, second goal of the season for Milan. He had an ankle injury, so he didn't start this game, but he came off in the last 13 minutes and sealed the 2-0 win for Milan versus Lecce. 1 goal, 1 chance created, 1 out of 1 successful dribbles, 3 out of 3 ground duels won, and 1 foul drawn. I wonder if he's going to start against South Korea, if he's still nursing a partial injury. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. But he did score the goal, and it was a nice goal too. Well, it was a bit of a gifted goal. The defender cleared it improperly, but he still managed to outpace the defender and, finish it well with his left foot past the keeper to hand Milan their first win of the season. So well done to Christian Pulisic. A couple special mentions here. You got Alejandro Zendejas of Club America. He got an assist versus Pachuca, also in the roster. Rokas Pukstas has scored twice, I believe. When I put this goal versus Rijeka, the game had not been over yet, but somebody in the chat mentioned that he scored twice. So let me just double check this here. Rokas Pukstas matches. Hajduk split 2-2, and both correct. In the 90 plus 6 minute, Rokas Pukstas got a brace. If he had got that brace before the stream started, he might have made it into the top 10. But definitely a special mention for him. This kid needs to get out of Croatia this summer. I don't know why he's still in the Croatian league. There was rumors about him needing to get away, about Italian teams and English teams and Dutch teams being interested in him. You're not going to get a national team call-up if you're playing in the Croatian league, nor should you, okay? Go perform at a higher level, right? That should be the expectation. Yes, MLS is probably better than the Croatian league. And I have no problem saying that, right? And so it's not just MLS. If you're playing at a low level and you want national team call-ups, get out of that low level and go play at a good level, right? At least a top, 10 league in the in Europe, whether it's the Championship or the Eredivisie or one of the top 5 leagues, something more than the Croatian league, okay? And then Patrick Schulte was man of the match against New York Red Bulls for the Columbus Crew. That game ended 0-0. He made 4 saves. Tanner Tessman had a good performance for Olympique Lyon. Started that game, played against Olympique Marseille, the Olympique derby. So yeah, good for him. Another guy making his case. John Tolkien, albeit in the second division, got an assist versus Hanover. Not really in consider. You shouldn't really be in consideration, in my opinion. If you're playing in any second division in the world, not named the championship, because that is the best one, I don't think you should really be in national team consideration. I'm sorry. That's just a very, very low level. But I can give him a special mention here, and kudos to him. Maybe in January he gets a move to a higher level. We'll see. Andrew Thomas needs a look at goalkeeper. You mean Andrew Rick from Philadelphia Union? Which Andrew Thomas are you referring to here? I know Andrew Rick from Philly, who's a young player. Andrew Thomas, soccer goalkeeper. Plays in MLS for who? For the Galaxy? Or does he play for Seattle? Oh, did he replace what's his name? Look, I haven't seen a lot of Seattle, but like, look, MLS goalkeepers at this point, especially if you're like in your late 20s, is he really going to be better than Matt Freese or Matt Kerner? I don't know. I don't know if we should be trying to like. There are enough MLS goalkeepers right now. I don't think Andrew Thomas is necessarily better than all of them. Although I have not seen him, so I probably shouldn't say that. But I should watch him before I say that. James with a very good question here. Pete, do you think Lund can be a decent left back for a backup to Jedi with his recent move to Cone? I don't expect him to be great, but just a solid backup, kind of like Scally is to Dest. Look, I'm not a big fan of Christopher Lund, and he was at Palermo benched for a good part of the season, and that was the Serie B. Somehow he managed to get this move in Germany and is starting for them. Good for him. I haven't seen him in the Bundesliga. I have to see what he looks like. I'm not a big fan of Christopher Lund. But you're right. A lot of our left back options are also not great, right? We're stuck with Barston for crying out loud. So let's see what he does. If he puts in consistently good performances in the Bundesliga, then sure, why not? I'd probably rather have him than Arfston. You've got Wiley, who's injured again. Tolkien now playing in the second division in Germany. Paredes injured again. It's not looking good. If only there was a left back that we had recruited properly named Nathaniel Brown. But no, we couldn't do that because we were too busy scouting Sean Zawadzki for the national team. It is what it is. Do I sound bitter? You bet your ass I am. All right, guys, what was your favorite goal of the weekend? If you're new here or, if you're watching, hit that subscribe button and try to watch as much of this video as you can so we can get monetized. We're very, 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 very close. If this video hits at least 800 watch hours, then we should be able to get monetized before camp. That is at least the goal. A couple of people are saying George Campbell for West Brom. I have not really seen George Campbell play for West Brom, so it's hard for me to say for sure. I think from what I saw of him in Montreal, he seemed like a very mid defender. So I can't really speak onto what he's doing. Hopefully he's improving at West Brom, right? That's the main thing. Hopefully we want him to get better playing in the championship and see how he continues to improve. And maybe if he keeps doing that, translate that into a move elsewhere. But good for him. Good for George Campbell for leaving his comfort zone, for leaving MLS and going to, to Europe and trying to same with Agyemang. As much as I don't like Agyemang, I think he's trying to push himself by going to Derby. He's still injured, so he hasn't played for them yet. But I think it's a good move, and I hope all of our guys make that move at some point and get out of MLS, go to a league where there's real pressure, where there's promotion, relegation, where there's passion, where the intensity is generally higher, especially in the top 5 to 10 leagues of Europe. So good for him. I haven't seen him play for West Brom, so I can't really comment on that. A couple of people are saying Ben Kramaski to Parma. Same sort of vibe. Like, good for him if he gets out of Inter Miami. It doesn't seem like he's really wanted there. I think he was hyped up a lot and started getting, caps based on his Messi affiliation. I think he's a U20 player. He should be in that under 20 World Cup roster, although I don't know anymore. If he's going to Parma, they may not release him for the under 20 World Cup roster. So we'll see what happens there. But the under 20 World Cup roster needs him. Him and Nico Shakiris are both eligible from the last under 20 World Cup. And that under 20 team is kind of devoid of high quality players. So I would prefer him to be there. But hey, look, if he's going to, Parma and going to be playing in Serie A, we'll see how he does. Definitely one to keep an eye on. Yeah, I haven't seen Cade Cowell for a long time. Cade Cowell is doing at Parma exactly what I expected. Not Parma, at Chivas, pretty much as I expected him to do. Because a lot of people were hyping up Cade Cowell, and getting mad at people like Tack and I for saying he wasn't a very good player because they like athleticism. But the kid never really had any real technique. These are his stats for the season. He has started only 2 games for Chivas, played in 6 matches, and has 1 goal, 0 assists. Yeah, he's just not a very good player, guys. That is in the Apertura, not in the whole season. That's in the Apertura. In Leagues Cup, he has 2 matches, 0 goals, 0 assists. In the CONCACAF Champions Cup, 4 matches, 2 started, 0 goals, 1 assist. So basically, overall, this guy is, 1 goal, 1 assist the whole season. Yeah, 1 goal, 1 assist all season long. Okay, and Cade Cowell is not exactly a teenager either, right? The guy is 21 now, so he's in October. He's almost 22. So when we said Cade Cowell wasn't very good, some people would get mad at us. And look, that's fine. You can have a different opinion from us, but I'm telling you, when a player has no technique, which he did not, it doesn't project for a very high ceiling. Some people were saying he's going to play in the Champions League, right? He's going to be a Champions League player one day, and everyone was very excited about him. And Tack and I, we were just like, we don't see it with this kid. Good at the U20 level because he's a very athletic player, and that can definitely stand out at the youth levels. But beyond that, I never really saw anything special. In fact, not just special. I think he lacks some technical fundamentals. And I think we're seeing that even in Liga MX. He's not even a starter for Chivas, right? And so I think we could be making the same mistake with a guy like Alex Freeman, where we get excited about his athleticism and some decent MLS performances. But you look at him and I just go, I don't know. I don't see the technical foundation there for this guy to be a high ceiling player. Can he still improve? Sure. Even Cade Cowell can still improve a little bit. But if you don't have the solid enough technical foundation, it puts a cap on your ceiling. It just does. Because technique in your 20s, can you get better? Absolutely. Marginally, in the 5 to 7% range, technical improvement can happen. But generally, your technical development happens from the ages of 8 to 13, and even younger if you listen to Tom Byer, and I actually agree with him. But usually once you finish puberty, your technical development as a player is largely finished, and you are who you are. You can improve things like decision-making. That's a big one that obviously can improve. Athleticism, you can't really improve. You can improve VO2 max. Athleticism is also sort of a nebulous term. You can definitely improve fitness. You can improve decision making, and you can have marginal technical improvements. But generally your technical development is finished. It's consistency that matters as you get older. Like guys like Malik Tillman, right? Very inconsistent when he was a little bit younger, but the technical foundation were there. And now we're starting to see him be more consistent, right? Patrick Aguimang went to Derby with no technique. Correct, Kaiju. And they will find that out very, very quickly. They will find that out very, very quickly because Patrick Aguimang was not even prolific in MLS, nor was he prolific for the national team. So they will find out very quickly in Derby that he will not be effective because he lacks technique. Let's see what else is here. Whatever happened to good old pace and power, J-Mo Smooth? Yeah, same sort of situation. Same sort of situation. What do you think, Green Great Basin, about the new U20? Yeah, nice try, Greg Green. I seen this one. If you had to bet how many MLS players, if I had to bet how many MLS players on the final World Cup squad, if I had to bet, okay, I would say 3 MLS goalkeepers. So Freeze, Turner, and another MLS goalkeeper. Off chance that Jonathan Klinsmann makes it, I doubt it, but we'll see. I'm going to say 3 MLS goalkeepers. Probably Tim Reams, very, very likely Tim Ream. So that's 4. Alex Freeman will probably be there. Potch seems to love him. Barston will definitely be there. That's 6 already right there. I would say midfielders, at least 1. At least 1, maybe 2. I'd say there's a good chance guys like Berhalter and De La Torre will be there because he seems to love them. Even if he brings Cardoso, Johnny, at least 1, I'm going to say 2. Then Diego Luna on the wing and 1 MLS striker. Like, I don't think he's going to bring Pepe, Balogun, and Sargent. If he's bringing 3 strikers, I think he'll find a way. But the problem is there isn't really any, unless he brings Brian White, even Patrick Aguimang. Yeah, I mean, maybe 9. I think 9 is fair. I think, you think Zawadzki will make it? Do you think Zawadzki will make it over Johnny Cardoso? That would be pretty insane if Zawadzki makes it over Cardoso. No, I have Luna in there, Matthew. So I'd say 9. Right now, 9. But let's see what the October roster looks like. Because according to Pochettino, this is his quote-unquote last camp to experiment. Now, that could mean many things. A, it could be a lie, because this guy seems like he talks out of his ass. And B, it could be, oh, I was experimenting bringing in some European guys, right? And now I'm going to go back to my MLS guys. Like, you didn't need experiment to see De La Torre and Berhalter there, for example, or even necessarily Freeman, right? You didn't really need to see that. So we'll see. But my guess is 9 to 10 MLSers in the final 26-man roster. Michel Giannone told me on Twitter, Zawadzki over Cardoso. Yeah, no, he was saying Roldan. He was like, I know people are upset about Cardoso or whatever. Like, this guy isn't starting for one of the best teams in the world. But you guys really ought to take a look at Christian Roldan. I was like, what year am I in? I feel like I'm in Berhalter's first cycle when the media is still trying to shove Christian Roldan, down our throats. Anywho, all these goals and assists will be on Patreon, guys. If you want to see that, the top 10 will be available. And we move. Obviously, we're going to cover the camp as it comes. And we'll see how these guys do against South Korea and Japan. Hit that like button before you go. And I will talk to all of y'all soon.